and you get all the crackles and noises that you want. I think it's a cool approach from Hyundai to create this N line of the Elantra on top of this new style of design, fragmented style that we just talked about. There is a new sporty Hyundai in town, and that is of course the Elantra N. So in this video I want to talk about some of the spec and tech of this car, let you know what I think about this design and compare it with the regular Elantra to show you what exactly changed, not just visually but also technically. The new Elantra N here is powered by a 2-liter inline-4 producing 276 horsepower and 289 pound-feet of torque that is sent to the front wheels only. It completes the 0 to 60 miles per hour sprint in about 5.3 seconds and continues onto a top speed of 155 miles per hour. And guess what? It even has launch control, which is pretty cool for a Hyundai. It will offer both a 6-speed manual with automatic rev matching as well as an 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. Behind the N-specific 19-inch wheels, you have larger brakes, which is totally different from the regular Elantra, and the suspension has been modified as well to make stiffer. You have a steering ratio that is quicker. You also have a bunch of different drive modes that you can select from. One of these being the N performance setting that you can just press on the big blue button right there on the steering wheel. There's also a new exhaust system that crackles and pops just like we're used to from the Veloster N. On the inside you have a 10.3-inch touchscreen infotainment system with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and some N-specific performance pages. And you also have an N app that you can decide what type of sound, engine sound you want in the cabin. You can do all that from an app nowadays. Crazy times. But now let's jump into Photoshop and let's see what this Elantra N is all about. So this is the front side view, I would say, and the big change here is obviously the front end. You have the big black front end here, which looks like a mouth that is ready to devour anything that comes in front of this car. It's a cool looking design. I mean, it's a Hyundai. They have a lot of fun now creating these type of designs. And this is part of this new design language from Hyundai, which is this fragmental design that you have in the body of the side of the car here. Specifically, as you can see right here, we have this now in the Tucson and we have it on the Ioniq as well. Gotta show you them in a minute here, and also the new Santa Cruz, the pickup. But this, it looks pretty cool. But what I wish they would do here, if you talk about this fragment stuff right here, is that I want to move this intersection of the fragmented pieces. I would love to have it go this and meet up here, because that would give it more of a front leaning stance if you look at it from a side view when it's standing still, because having this right here now, it's almost centered in the car. You have the same kind of mass this way going this way, and it kind of makes it look like it's static. It's not really moving. So I think moving this point forward, I think that would help the design. But they also did this on a specific model, which I'm going to show you in just a minute here, and I can show you exactly what I wish they would have implemented on the Elantra as well. So this is compared to the regular Elantra that we have right here, and you can see that this is a lot sportier, obviously, the N model, and a lot of that has to do with the wheels and tires. So you have 245s, Michelin Sport 4S's on this 19-inch, and you also have the upgraded brakes behind there and the suspension as well. So this is not just a visual tune to make it an N. They actually went under the surface and modified a lot of things to make it more of a performance model than this regular version down here. Comparing the two side by side like this, I really prefer this front end compared to this. I mean, I think they both suit what they're targeting. I think this looks like a regular old plain Elantra mid-size sedan, and this looks like a sporty version of this design right here. So I think for what it is and for what's the intention is, I think they made a good job on both of these designs. And I also like that this part right here, you can see that this chin or this spoiler at the bottom here is now straight instead of going up here a little bit and then down. And this creates it looks good here, but this just brings it closer to the ground and makes it look like it's kind of hugging the road better when you have that. And on top of that, it's a different color. So these are red now, these pieces down here, which accentuates that even more. So let's have a look at the rear view here. The thing with this chiseled, fragmented design that Hyundai are doing right now, it's a cool approach to design, because you still have a lot of line flow going on. So it's not like it's just fragments randomly going in all kinds of directions. For example, if you follow some of these lines here, you can see that we have some line flow going. We have this line here, for example, going down there. Then we have this line right here. And then, of course, this line going into the C-pillar right here. So there is some line flow going on. It's not a bad design. It's just a very unique approach to styling. And I think, as I said many times before, that designers in South Korea, I think they are the ones that are having the most fun at their jobs right now, creating the new Kias and the Hyundais as well. It's such a innovative approach to design. And the thing with Hyundai is they're not just focusing on this language. Then you have the new Staria, which is a completely new design language as well. It's a sort of a minivan. And you have the prophecy concept, a totally different approach to design there as well. So they're playing around with a bunch of different things. And I think it's a good idea to do that, to just get the feedback from the audience and the target market, what they think about different kinds of approaches like that. One thing that I would personally change on this rear end is, I think this wing, it looks too 90s, it looks too out of place on this design. What I would prefer to have is, instead of having this wing here, I would prefer to have some sort of black just lip going like this. I think that would be a lot cooler to see, and I think that would integrate a lot better in this design as well, instead of having this it looks like a very basic 3D model of a wing that is slapped on here. But it does generate some downforce. I think it was 195 kilos at top speed or something like that of downforce. So it does have some function, but I would still rather have just a lip in the back here, because I think it suits the overall design more. I want to compare it to the regular version right here, so you can see that we have a lot more aggressive diffuser down here, more aggressive pipes down here as well, which is going to crack and pop just like the Elantra N. And I think it sounds great. It's a cool car. I mean, you get a dual clutch 8-speed automatic with this car, and you get all the crackles and noises that you want. I think it's a cool approach from Hyundai to create this N line of the Elantra on top of this new style of design, fragmented style that we just talked about. It's a cool design. I also love this color here in combination with the red accents down here. Last but not least, let's just have a look at the side view here before I show you all the models that they're implementing this design language on at the moment. So this is what I'm talking about. You have this style right here, you have this intersection of all these lines. So all these lines are pointing towards this point right here. And what I want to do, I made a video on this when the regular Elantra came out a long time ago on the Sketch Monkey channel. You can go and check that out. I made a redesign of this where we have these lines converge at a point which is somewhere around here, I think I put it. So you have more of a like a arrow pointing forward. So it looks like it has a direction. Right now it's almost in the center. It's a little bit tilted to the front end, as you can see right here. If we put out the full length of the car, you can see that it goes here. So you have a little 60% and 40. So we have 40% of the length right here, and then 60% of the length right here. I would rather have it be maybe 80-20 or something like that. That means moving it over here and have the intersection going right there, creating this arrow piece, which they've already done on a model that I'm going to show you right now. But first of all, comparing it to the original, the stock Elantra here, I think this just shows how big of a difference a set of wheels and tires can do for the car. Even though these are 19s, which are not massive, but they're still sportier in their approach. And you also have these pieces in the bottom here that makes the car look like it sits lower to the ground, and specifically since you have the accent color red in combination, in contrast to the blue of the rest of the car. And then you have the wing here. Still, I think just a little tail, ducktail like that would be better suited for this car, but that's just a matter of taste, I guess. I guess a lot of people that are into the Elantra N will want to have some sort of pronounced wing on the back. So I guess it makes sense for who they're targeting this car for. So now I want to show you what's going on here with Hyundai and their design language in general, and this Fragment design that I was talking about. So this is of course the car we're talking about in this video, the Elantra N, and it has this fragmented pieces inside, and then you have the Ioniq 5 as well. You can see here, this is what I'm talking about when I want to have the arrow pointing forward. I think it just gives a more of a front-leaning look. It gives it a direction in the car more in the Ioniq 5 than it does up here in the Elantra. So you can see that as I said, the fragmented pieces here, but here they all converge, and there are only two lines here, so they all converge way forward, right underneath the A-pillar pretty much, and this gives it this arrow feel that I'm looking for in the Elantra here, which looks a little too static for me, but it's still a fun play with graphics and new types of designs. And then we also have the Tucson, which is a similar design strategy or language as well as the Ioniq 5 and the Elantra here. And this has also a bunch of lines going on here, a lot of creases and stuff. Fun stuff from the designers. I think this creates a very static looking rectangle here. I think I made a redesign on this as well. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I made a redesign of this where these angles are a little bit more tilted. So we have a little more difference between those two angles because now they're way too close. So you don't know, are they supposed to be the same angle like this or are they not? Because the difference between them is so small that it looks like you don't know if it's intentional to have this small of a difference between these two angles or if it's actually supposed to be two parallel lines. So either you make them parallel 100% or you make a bigger difference between them so you can actually see what the intention is with the car. But same thing here. It's a fun approach from Hyundai to create designs like this and let the designers have some fun and try to play around with new design languages and stuff and graphics more specifically, and it looks cool. And then you have the very interesting 4-line taillights, which I've seen out in the wild now a couple of times. These are pretty common here now and it looks all right. And then last but not least, we have the Santa Cruz, which I think looks great. He takes this fragmented design language and creates something really cool with it because you have only one shoulder line right here, and then he kind of hits a particle here or something and splits in two. So you have this line then splitting in two like that, and it creates a cool looking design. I'm glad they didn't split it somewhere around here or something, because then again we would have this static feeling. If it splits too early, it's gonna look too balanced and not have a movement forward. So this is my impressions of the new Elantra N here. I think it's a cool approach by Hyundai to release cars like this. It makes for a more interesting lineup of cars in general and more fun cars. And I'm also glad that they focused on just making a inline 4 with 276 horsepower, not a hybrid or nothing. Just an inline 4, have some fun with the tools that they have and just apply it into the Elantra package. The dual clutch gearbox, the exhaust system, the suspension, the wheels, everything, and created this car. It's a cool idea by them, and I'm glad they put this out on the roads.